Somehow, some way, we survived another week in February, and we are here. It's Friday. It's a SportsCage. Thank you for making some time. If you're listening or watching this live, maybe you're going to pick it up later in podcast form. I still say thank you for doing that. Solo mission today, except, of course, we got Colson on the other side of the board, and Colson is going to be key in this program as we navigate through 3 hours of athletics and other items of conversation. We are going to hear from Farhan Lalji, TSN football insider, but we got to talk some hockey with Farhan out in Vancouver. Trade rumors around the Canucks. Pettersson, question mark. We are going to talk. The Brier starts tomorrow. It actually starts tonight. Starts tomorrow for the Nap team from Saskatchewan. They got a tough one in their first game. We're going to hear from third and vice skip Brennen Jones. I love that. Vice skip Brennen Jones. Also coming up in hour one. Sprinkle of the day. If you follow the program yesterday, go ahead and unload on me because I couldn't have been more off on my two sprinkles. And I did bet those. I hit those. Or I bet them. I went far from hitting them. So we'll talk sprinkle of the day in hour one. Hour two, Off the Rails Friday with Eric Francis. He is somewhere in California. I don't know if it's northern or southern, but Eric Francis, we'll have some fun with him. We're going to preview the Saskatchewan U18 AAA, also known, before everything got a little weird, the Midget AAA loop. The playoffs start this weekend in Saskatchewan. We're going to talk to young Ardenn Lloyd, who is the play-by-play voice of the Regina Pat Canadians. We'll tee up the Pat C's, Moose Jaw. Those are the two front runners. But the whole playoff scene in general in the U18 AAA League, because we love to cover the local sports here on the SportsCage. Hour three, Luke Mullinder. We were supposed to have him on Wednesday, and things didn't work out, so he says Friday. Friday afternoon after 5 o'clock. I have no idea what state Luke's going to be in, so it could be fun. That's a busy program on Friday.
Do you see Ed on the YouTube? Already called back.
Okay, we'll read that in a second. Yeah, you can participate. If you're on the YouTube, we still call it the Prairie Land Rentals text line, and the Prairie Land Rentals text line throughout the program. I have a feeling that some of you are going to have some comments about some of the things we talk about today. That number's 936-6262. We love hearing your name or knowing your name. We also love hearing where you're from. So put that in as well. Prairie Land Rentals, 600 Albert Street, where you get to deal with the owner, anything you need rental-wise, if you got a project on the go or a project coming up. All of our guests join us on the Western Pizza Guest Hotline. Friday around our house, I guarantee it. There'll be a text message to my phone momentarily. What are we having for supper? And Western Pizza runs about a 90% approval rating. Easy Friday. You can pick up a wheel, any of the Greek favorites that you love from Western Pizza. I talk that this weekend is busy for hockey. I know not everybody out there is a hockey fan, by the way. I know not everybody out there is a football fan. I know not everybody out there is a baseball fan. It's just how the world works. So it makes it beautiful. But you look at the WHL and the Regina Pats. First, the Regina Pats are in action tonight. They're on the road in Brandon taking on the Wheat Kings. The playoff chase in the Eastern Conference, it's a battle for the 7th and 8th position between three teams. Currently, the Regina Pats have 51 points. They're in 7th. The Moose Jaw Warriors, who have played 3 more games, have 47 points, so 4 points back. And then the Red Deer Rebels, who have also played 3 less than Moose Jaw, the same as the Pats, they are lurking 1 point back of Moose Jaw. The race is real. It's what it's all about. The Pats are a young team scrapping, trying to get into the postseason. They're in Brandon this evening. Red Deer is home to the Edmonton Oil Kings tonight. Moose Jaw is off. Moose Jaw is back at her tomorrow night, as the Moose Jaw Warriors tomorrow are home to the Penticton V. So that race in the Western Hockey League Eastern Conference is what you want as a sport fan. Anyway, I know maybe if you got some sort of sprinkle down on things, you would lean differently, or if you're a parent of the players or any ties to the teams. Yeah, but as a sporting fan, you get to watch that. You get to watch them grind right down to the end. Like I said, the Pats are a young team. So that's the WHL. Then a lot of you out there listening, you're into the nitty gritty with like 10 games-ish left in the SJHL. And there's playoff races there. We had the SJHL report yesterday with Benny Walchuk for Chad Reach, Senior Wealth Advisor, GP Financial Services, and Avisa Wealth. Yorkton, Battleford, Flin Flon, all lead. I don't know if you got the power rankings, Colson, handy as well, but those are all the division leaders, and then they're all lumped in, and it's a 1 versus 8 thing when the playoffs roll down. Benny walked us through that. There are some games this weekend, measuring stick games. Nipawin has been really good this year. Nipawin is in Yorkton tonight. So if you're listening in that Yorkton area, 7 p.m., the Terriers host Nipawin. Then in Melfort tonight, Melfort has been on an absolute heater. They are the hottest team in the league. They have won 9 games in a row as of February 24th. 4-2 win over Weyburn in there as a little measuring stick. Melfort is home to the league leaders, Flin Flon, tonight. So if you're near the Northern Lights Palace in Melfort, the area, St. Brew, Tisdale, Mustadam, bring your trunks because there's a swimming pool attached to the rink. Go check it out. 7:30 Flin Flon is in town. Beyond that, I know there's a lot of minor hockey in and around as teams start playoffs, into playoffs. Parents, some of you wishing, please don't break another stick this year. Let's just get through playoffs without a stick. Skate sharpenings, everything. But then there's senior hockey, and the sheet and what goes on this weekend in senior hockey around Saskatchewan. And maybe some of you out there are going, senior hockey? What was he talking about, senior hockey? Well, you got ex-NHLers, you got ex-pro guys. They're all back, ex-junior, CIS. It is such good hockey. How about tonight in Lumsden? The Lumsden Monarchs are looking to seal the deal in their A playoff with Kindersley. They're up 1-0. 8:30 puck drop. A late one. Lots of time for the pit in Lumsden before. Kindersley, Lumsden. Will it go to game 3? I hear there's some suspensions that are coming down for Lumsden and some guys out of town. Then in Kipling, Provincial D, Kipling needs to stay alive against the powerful Milestone squad rolling in. That's game 2 of their D. But then tomorrow, buckle up, senior-wise. In Raymore, I am torn between 3 different Saskatchewan communities to go to on Saturday. Do I go to Raymore? Lorburn, Raymore, game 2 of their A playoff series. I know some guys are ripping up to Kenora. 7:30 as Wilkie's in town in that B playoff series. Carnduff, down in Carnduff. D, Cupar's in town for game 2. And then, couple of the big ones. It will be packed. Denton George Memorial. The rink on the Ochapowace First Nation is top notch. It is one of the nicest barns in the province that doesn't have a junior hockey team playing out of it, hands down. The Round Lake Bears and the Redvers Rockets, game 3, the deciding game. Sounds like full rosters for both sides. Theron Fleury, behind the bench, coaching the Round Lake Bears, former Regina Pat Justin Bernhardt, getting his sticks and gas in. That's at 7 p.m. face-off on the Ochapowace First Nation. And then this is the one that I'm leaning towards. I've never been to this rink. It's going to be jam-packed. I've been hearing stories. It'll be elbow to elbow. Nice small-town bar as well, I'm told. Foam Lake, 7 p.m. Kenaston. Game 3, the deciding game in that series. So, hockey weekend in the province. And then Sunday, if you're a midget AAA fan, 1 p.m. Contacts Pat Canadians start their playoff series. If you're in Moose Jaw, the Winmar Warriors start their series with Battlefords on Sunday at 6 p.m. It's a lot. This is why there is a reffing shortage. It's weekends like this that the guys in charge of scheduling refs around the province, absolute nightmare. So hard to do. So that's your hockey rundown. We'll keep talking about that today. And then this weekend, folks. And then this weekend in Saskatchewan, the big 5-0, 50. This is where I need you to chime in on the Prairie Land Rentals text line throughout the day. It's TeleMiracle. That is right. It's TeleMiracle weekend in Saskatchewan. Ring those phones. Where are we going? Higher. All that jazz. I want to know some TeleMiracle memories out there. I know you small town people, especially if you're a part of the Kinettes or Kinsmen, you have memories of this. The money raised. You look at some of the years. I can't believe 2022, from what I see, 2022 was the all-time record on money raised. We'll talk about that in a bit. You have to stay tuned on what number that was. And some of the performers. I really have 2, maybe 3 TeleMiracle stories that I'm going to share. But I was looking up the international and national performers that have been on TeleMiracle. Wow. The list is long. It fires. I thought it was in Regina. It's in Saskatoon again this weekend. And it's at the Prairie Land. It's not even at the old Centennial Auditorium. Don't know why that switched. So we're talking TeleMiracle today too, because it is a big weekend in Saski. Lots to get to. Let's go to break. First one of the day. When we come back, Farhan Lalji from TSN will join us. It is the Sports Cage, streaming through our YouTube channel at sportscage.com. Been a few weeks since I've talked to this cat. There he is, Farhan Lalji. How you been holding up out there on the West Coast?
Who's your agent? Because I need to meet him. Because you get more vacation time than anybody I know. Every time I come on this thing, you're off somewhere, and generally it's someplace palatial and outside the snow of Regina. You've got it good, my friend.
I was off for 4 days last week. Is a guy not allowed to take 4 days?
I was off, and then the week before that you were off. When I was like, you got these long weekends every Friday. When I come on, you're off.
You do understand I got 2.5 jobs, right? This is one job, then I have another job, and then I have another half of a job. So trust me, I wish it was relaxing time. You don't want this smoke. You don't want, and then the 14 and the 12-year-old touring the province playing hockey too. You've seen the price of hockey sticks. You don't. It's a different time, man. It might look great.
When my son, listen, we were getting all the aluminum sticks. Like I had this little hookup with this store that I was able to get sticks and skates and everything for about half off. But when I looked at these, so my son figured he could ask for double the value of hockey sticks, right? Oh, can we get the $700 stick? Because it's only $350, Dad. It's messed up.
It's crazy. Did you watch much of the Olympics? What's your take on the Olympics and everything that happened? You know, obviously hockey and down.
Yeah, truthfully, look, I'm not going to sit here and tell you I watched a lot of Olympics beyond hockey. I'm not a big curling guy, although I did get a sense of what the entire controversy was about and everything like that on the men's side. And then, we did get gold in curling, which was definitely a positive. And I know there was a lot of, hand-wringing and disappointment about the fact that they only had 21 medals. Not near what they did in 2018. And, 5 goals. They didn't get their first gold until day 9 with Michael Kingsbury on the ice. And so, and I talked to the guys about it last week, that the COC made a lot of comments about how the fact that they need more support, and they do, right? I mean, the fact that, the bobsleigh team that had to spend like $70,000 a guy, that stuff should just not be happening in a country that is known for its winter sports like Canada is. And really just overall, I don't like when the summer sports get lose out because of the commitment we've got to winter sports, which certainly happened a lot in 2010. And 2010 Own the Podium was such a successful campaign, and it brought so much new money into the COC. And now, since then, we haven't really kept up with the demand. And, in order to compete at the highest level, you need more money. And is that government money? Not necessarily, but it might mean tax incentives for government to give a number of corporate people so that they could get more involved and be a little more committed. But there's got to be a desire to want to do it, because I do think these things matter to Canadians.
That's a really good point, because my question was going to be, all right, how? Where does it start? Does it start at the government? I think the taxing is great. I find it hard to believe, though, in 2026, we've been going the other way, because you talk about the high after Vancouver, and then it's the other way. I don't know, and I don't think you and I cover it as well, or we know as much. I don't see a lot of other countries going the other way on things like this.
No, and a lot of attention was given to Norway this year, and how they just continue to dominate at the Winter Olympics despite having like 5.6 million people in that entire country, and how they were able to do it. And certainly their entire economics and social structure as a country is different than what we do here. And, the university-centric sport model that we have in North America, outside of hockey, of course. So, I don't know that you're going to culturally change everything, but I just think there needs to be a commitment, because right now on the bottom end of sport, things have become really difficult. You talk about what your sons have to go through and what you're dealing with on the expense side, and I dealt with it, and I tapped out of hockey. And the amount of costs and what that does to kids at the young end, and the lack of sport participation that we have currently, sitting, I think, at 34% in those age groups. Well, now you're just going to continue to lose and lose and lose. So how do you make up for that? Well, you've got to find additional resources at the middle end or at the top end. And especially if we're a country that decides we're going to go out and recruit from other sports to get into winter sport, right? That we're going to get track athletes and football athletes to go push the sled and do that type of thing. Well, if you're going to do that, you better commit to developing these people at a later stage in life. So I just, no one's got the right answer. It's like CFL fans telling me, hey, they need better marketing. Okay, great. But, it kind of looks different. Like your version of marketing when you're 60 is a little different than what a 20-year-old looks like in terms of how they're being marketed to. So I wish I had the answer, much like those CFL fans. I don't, but I just love to see more commitment to it.
I think the time it was going to happen at some point where the U.S. was going to win a gold medal in hockey. Like, you think about how close they've been, but also, it's funny that the women were such heavy underdogs going into that game, and they're like a minute and a bit away from winning as an underdog. It's like, I get there isn't a lot of other countries, Farhan, but Canada as an underdog in hockey almost won a medal, right? Like the U.S., where the U.S. women's hockey's going, and it just seems Canada, I don't have the answers. I don't know what you're hearing out there, but we're trailing.
Well, on the women's side, there's no doubt. And the reason for that is there's such an investment in women's sport in the United States. Everybody is benefiting. And I'm seeing it in the flag football space, right, where the NFL has decided, hey, we need to market this way. We need to get the girls playing our sport. So we saw it in the 90s and in the early 2000s with sports like women's soccer and lacrosse, and certainly hockey was a bit behind that, but it's now come to the forefront. So there's just so many more girls and women playing hockey in the United States. Like, their growth is accelerating at a level the Canadians aren't, right? So when you wind up with more people at the bottom end, you're going to see the results at the top end, right? So there's just a lot of investment there, and I think the women's professional hockey league, it's going to benefit both countries. And I'm really proud of the ladies and just the way they were able to play, because if you look at their round robin game when they lost 5-0, you thought, wow, like this is going to be bad on the national or on the global scale in the gold medal game. And I thought the Canadians were full value. Like if they would have, let's put it this way, that game in terms of flow and chances was a lot closer than the men's game, because the Canadian men dominated that game. When you look at the Americans and the Canadians in the women's game, it was much closer. Certainly score effects are going to have a bit of an effect in the third period, but in the first two periods, Canada was full value for its lead. So I was really impressed with how they played, and I think that bodes well for them as they go through the next 2-year cycle, into the Worlds and then eventually back into the Olympics.
Curious to get your take on 3-on-3 overtime to decide a gold medal game.
I don't like it. Nobody got screwed, right? Like both teams were playing by the same rules. I'm not going to sit here and say the Americans got lucky because it was 3-on-3. The Americans got lucky in the first 60 minutes when Nathan McKinnon misses a wide open net and, that kind of thing. But, and again, Connor Hellebuck played great and he's part of the team. So I said at one point they got goalied. It was an impressive performance, I thought, by the Canadian team. And the 3-on-3, I think they should at least go, even if you go 10 minutes of 4-on-4 and then go 10 minutes of 3-on-3. I get that you can't do an NHL model and potentially have 4 or 5 overtimes with the Olympic closing ceremonies a couple of hours away. I understand that, but I think there's a bridge there before you've got to go right to 3-on-3. And that said, I like 3-on-3 better than the shootout.
I was going to say, what's more egregious, the shootout way to end it or the 3-on-3? And yeah, the shootout is a little crazy. Okay, staying with hockey, Vancouver. What are we going to see there with the Canucks? Are they going to move Pettersson? What are you hearing?
Well, look, the Canucks are going to try to move players. They're going to try to move unrestricted free agents, and they're going to try to move free agents with term that are getting older, because, this team's going to be at least, 3 years from being competitive again, right? Or getting the entry point of their next cycle of contention if they ever get there. So, do you want to keep players that have got 5-6 year term that are in their 30s? So when you look at the unrestricted free agents, the guys that everybody is looking at is Evander Kane, Teddy Bluger, David Kampf, and then you've got the unrestricted free agents. And so we've talked about Tyler Myers a lot in the last 48 hours. Are they going to get that across the finish line? We'll see. Doesn't look like, he's going to go to Detroit yet. He's going to want to wait for a better option. Then you've got other players like, you mentioned Pettersson, but also Connor Garland, Jake DeBrusk, Brock Besser. And Pettersson, there was some noise around him coming out of the Olympics. He had that one good period for Sweden when he got the couple of 2 goals and did some good things. But I think there were a lot of scouts in the building the other night, right, when Vancouver played Winnipeg. And if you watch Pettersson play, I'm not telling you he's soft, right? Like he blocked 7 shots in that game. But I do think there are moments where he just plays the game indifferently. And he doesn't want the puck. He doesn't have that hunger to try to create. We don't see him shoot the puck anymore. Like if I'm a team, I'd be really, really worried right now. I think he's on pace for 39 points. Is he ever going to get that back? I don't think he's ever going to get it back in Vancouver. I do think if he goes elsewhere, he could be a 75 or 80 point guy. He'll never be a 100 point guy again. I do think it'd be better for everybody involved if he got out of Vancouver. But the Canucks right now are probably in a scenario where they've got to decide if it's just important enough culturally to get the player out and get off the contract as it is trying to recoup value. Because you're not getting a Quinn Hughes type haul for Elias Pettersson. It's just not going to happen. If you get a first-round draft pick, I think you should be happy with that, in my opinion.
For sure. What's the mood like around fans in Vancouver?
Well, I think fans are pleased with the fact that they've said they're going to commit to a rebuild. Now, the proof's in the pudding. So what happens at the trade deadline? Because with these unrestricted free agents, some of these guys are tap-in putts, right? Like, if you can get a third-round pick, get the third-round pick and move it along. So I think they need to make those decisions. But then it becomes the hard decisions, those players I mentioned with term. If they can move 1 or 2 of those guys, I think the fans will be happy because it will signal that, yes, they're serious about a rebuild, as opposed to hanging on to these contracts and guys that aren't going to be able to help them, when they get to a point of being competitive. So Vancouver hockey fans, like the organization always said, the fans can't stomach a rebuild. They were wrong. They misread the room. The fans now want to see, is this just words or is it real?
Let's drift over to football here, and you've covered the Combine, you cover NFL. Yeah. I was a little bit, unless I'm totally out to lunch because I don't cover it deep, but they're so much on arm length, and they're talking arm length at the NFL Combine, with pass rushers and then guards. Arm length, has this just kind of come out of nowhere where we're learning how much of an emphasis, I guess, is put from scouting staffs on a player's arm length?
Yeah, I think it matters, and it has for a while. So they're talking about it more as we talk about all data more. If you're a quarterback, your hand size has always mattered. But when you look at whether you're an offensive lineman or a defensive lineman, you've got to have the ability to separate. And arm length matters to that. Like if you're a defensive player and an offensive lineman can get into you and you can't separate and get him off your chest, your bench press doesn't matter because your arm length is going to get in the way of that, right? So if you're a defensive back, it's going to matter because if you're a little bit undersized, can you still get up and contest a pass? So all those things I think are valid, right? That ability to shed a block. I think in certain positions it honestly matters as much as 40 speed. It really, really does. So I get why it does, and just more. I wish I could be there measuring them myself. I missed my trip to Indianapolis. I love going to St. Elmo's Steakhouse where all the scouts and all the coaches are. It's like it's a good event to cover just from a networking standpoint. It's a lot of fun, but arm length is a big topic for sure.
What are you, a ribeye guy, a prime rib? What do you like? What do you?
I'm a ribeye guy. I'm absolutely a ribeye in New York. Those are my two. That's
we're the same. That any Canadians down there? Is Elgersma? There was word on that.
Yeah, Akeem Messidor is there, but he's limiting what he does because like a lot of players, they want to wait for their pro day. So he's the defensive lineman that played at the University of Miami and was incredibly productive this season and was a big force in the college football playoff and helped lead Miami to the national championship game. The one downside with Akeem is that he's older, right? He spent time at West Virginia, after reclassifying. So he's like 25 years old, right? So that does hurt. But, I still think he could be a top 50 pick, right? I do think realistically he's going to be taken very high. There's nobody else there. I know that Taylor Elgersma is there, but he's not with the quarterbacks. He's, throwing drills to DBs as opposed to being evaluated as a quarterback necessarily. So,
oh, really?
Yeah, and that's been out there. Look, the fact that he's there is a positive, right? That he can get another chance to meet with people and things like that. But when the coaches that are evaluating the quarterbacks are doing that, he's not part of that group. He's throwing to other positions, not the wide receivers. So, like when you're just throwing a back pedal and brake drill, you're not really showing off your arm talent in those types of drills, right? But, you got to stay relevant, got to stay involved and have your face out there.
Makes for a good story if something ever happens out of it, for sure. The Elks and Bombers getting an extra pick in the draft because of the snaps for Canadians for nationals. What do you know about that? I've talked to a few guys this week. They don't know really the ins and outs. I love it as a rule. I think it's great for the Canadian League.
Yeah, no, I think it's a good thing. The Lions were able to take advantage of that a year ago. And, it's funny, when I remember last year talking to Ed Hervey after their free agent period, because they did go crazy on Canadians during that time. And, he talked about that we want to be able to do that, right? And, that was important to them to put themselves in a position that they could play 8 and 9 Canadians if they ever needed to, and they didn't have to just go with the bare minimum. So, to get that extra pick is valuable. In this league, the hit rate on first-round draft picks isn't great, but the hit rate on mid-round draft picks is really, really significant. So when you can get a guy in that 20 range, you're more likely to get a guy that actually wants to be there. You can be a little bit more selective if you've got 2 picks back-to-back where you can take one on a future. There's a lot of strategy involved with that. So I think when you can win that and get that extra pick, it's a real positive.
I want to close on this. Saskatchewan, we're ahead in a lot of things, and we are way behind on a lot of things. It sounds like we're finally getting tailgating here. The provincial government has decided to open up their eyeballs and let it happen. Have you been to many tailgates in the CFL? NFL, college aside, next level. Anyone that's ever been to one of those. If you've been to many in the CFL, I think Saski is going to embrace this. We are going to see some nice setups in the Mosaic parking lot.
Yeah, a few years ago when I heard that this was not allowed, I was blown away. And I remember one time there was kind of some tailgating going on during one of the Grey Cups. And, when Sask was tailgating, like, it was different. A buddy of mine who was wearing, full green and white paint was a surgeon, right? Like, you know what I mean? We're not talking about the guys working at Western Pizza, right? Like, we're talking about, like, guys that have a lot of means and are, have the ability to enjoy a game differently. And they were coming to games like this, and they're really into it. So the best tailgating for me that I've seen in the CFL, and to be fair, I haven't experienced a lot back east. I know in the early stages when they tried to do it in Toronto when they first got into BMO, the tailgating areas were really good and successful. Calgary's been outstanding. If you go right outside the west sideline, there's an entrance there, and there's a kind of a grass embankment and then a parking lot in there, and there's a lot of tailgating that goes on there, and they do a real good job. People get into it. So I can only imagine what it'll look like in Saskatchewan. I think it's going to be a great thing, especially with the lot set up there. There's a lot of natural places you can visualize where tailgating would be really successful. So, I don't know if they're going to have restrictions, if there'll just be certain tailgate lots or what have you, or if it's just going to be wide open, but I think it's a positive. Yeah,
there won't be a lot of room. It's going to be tight, but that's where I think it's going to be exclusive. It's going to be pretty. You'll have to do a walk and talk stand up as a scene setter for TSN.
And I'll have you in it on one of your many off days.
I'll paint my face. I'll be like your surgeon buddy. All right. Always a pleasure, my man. Have a great weekend, and then we'll catch up next week because I'm here next week.
All right. Take care. We'll talk to you then.
So, TSN CFL insider broadcaster Farhan Lalji joining us for the Cooperators, as he does usually every Friday. It's time to get financially fit. Cooperators can build a plan that works for you. Cooperators invest in your future together. I get the same amount of holidays as everybody else. Just what I'm saying. There's 4 days off. I only do this show 4 days a week because I have another job. It's just how it works. It's how it works. Some of the TeleMiracle stuff is coming down still. We'll get to that. It is a Sports Cage. We are streaming through our YouTube channel at sportscage.com. Saskatchewan Roughriders signed American defensive back Ty French today, 6'1", 235. He's a big body. Played for Gardner Webb and West Virginia before signing with the 49ers at a rookie camp last year. Western Hockey League, Pats in Brandon. Starts 6:30 right here on 620 CKRM. Other Saskatchewan teams of Blades home to PG, Raiders home to Penticton, and Swift Current is in Lethbridge. Prairie Junior Hockey League playoff start. Assiniboia Southern Rebels at Fort Knox. Game 1 at 7:30 start there. Some senior provincials in Lumsden. Kindersley's in for Game 2. Lumsden leads there, and in Kipling, they're home to Milestone. Milestone's up 1-0 there. Junior C tonight, River Rats, Strasbourg Maroons in Strasbourg, 8 p.m. Game 2 of the best of 3 series. And National Lacrosse League, the Rusher in Buffalo. National Hockey League, one Canadian team, Winnipeg's in Anaheim. It's for Reliance Heath. Switch to Reliance Heath, get $200 cash back on your new water heater. Some conditions apply. Call on Reliance. On the Western Pizza guest hotline, joining us from St. John's, Newfoundland, third for the NAP team, trying to get it done at the Brier for Team Saskatchewan, Brennen Jones. Brennen, thanks for taking time here on an off day. You guys, it all fires up today, but you guys have the first day off. That's kind of nice.
Yeah, we got a bye today, which is kind of, good and bad. It was kind of nice to be able to tour around and enjoy the scenery. But, we are going to go to the game tonight just so that we can kind of take a peek at the ice and whatnot and see what it's doing versus practice. But yeah, it is an off day today. Yeah.
What the team's kind of full of younger guys. I'm sure you like to go out and have some pints. What is the off day held for you so far? Touring around, visiting some places, maybe a few taverns.
Yeah, for sure. Like, our family's still kind of in transit, so we don't actually have any family here yet. Some of us do, but we kind of toured around. We took it upon ourselves to kind of walk down to the harbor there, and then we kind of started seeing some of the scenery, and we were like, well, let's take a ride up to Signal Hill, and that kind of translated into the driver kind of kept stretching it a little bit and asking us, hey, you want to go here? You want to go here? How much time do you have? And we're like, well, we got the whole day off. So she kind of just toured us around for about 4 hours. So it was kind of nice to be able to do that, because once we get into the thick of things, it's going to be a little bit harder to peel away when you're going to want to actually rest.
What's, it's kind of a cliche, a little bit of a cheesy question to athletes and all that when they go into an event like this. But what is the mindset going into this, Brier, especially for, you guys have been there before, yourself as well. What's the mindset going into this one?
Well, obviously you want to be better from the last Brier, and we just were a little bit short of the playoffs last time. So our mindset this go around is obviously we do have our eyes on the playoffs and getting to that championship pool. Obviously we are an underdog, we're aware of that, but we know that we can make it pretty challenging for these other guys, and I think the other groups kind of respect that. So, we're not going to be a pushover, but we're going to make it challenging and be a little difficult to get by us, which is kind of what the goal is.
Curling's one of those sports too, which, I guess golf, you're by yourself, but you play against the same guys. You kind of know the guys and all that. And with curling, it's not like, a national hockey championship where teams won't know each other and you got to watch tape, or basketball or anything like that. Curling, you kind of know these teams. That's got to be good, but then also sometimes maybe a detriment as well.
Yeah, well, I guess as much as we know them, they know us too, right? So it kind of goes the same ways. And, curling's a pretty social sport, where some of those other sports may not be as social, or maybe I'm not aware of the social aspect. But it's like we do know guys, and, and even some guys have family members on opposing teams. Like our second is obviously cousins with Ben Hebert, right? So, and we do play them. So, I'm not sure quite the feeling of what that is like for them, but we know quite a few of these guys, and there's a good level of respect that goes both ways.
When are you guys at your best as a team?
When are we at our best? Oh, that's a tricky question. I think, obviously, our team is a pretty tight-knit group. We've been together for so long. We don't have adversity on our team, really. There's no drama, which is really nice. We're just really good. We're really good buddies. So as long as we're socializing and, amongst the team, all of our personalities don't clash, right? So I think as long as we're enjoying ourselves and having fun, that's when the best play comes out. And we kind of really lean on each other to keep us in that space. So if somebody's having a bad game, another guy picks up the spirit and kind of pushes them along, kind of thing. And that's kind of what works for us, and it's been really great, to have that mentality amongst everybody, which is a pretty important piece of the success.
Is it the old adage, kind of one game at a time, and leaning on your experience from the Brier? Do you have to go at it one game at a time, or can you look at the schedule and maybe plot out some things? How does that work for you guys in your mindset and your prep?
It's tough to plot out anything. It is one game at a time. You do have to kind of plot out what rocks you're playing with, and you kind of want to kind of check out how they're running and what the other groups are throwing them. You might go and check out and see what the rotation, because each rock could be different, right? So you do have to match rocks. So you do have to kind of look ahead a little bit. But in the grand scheme of things, it's one game at a time for our mindset. And that's why we have a coach in the fifth, that they can kind of do that one step ahead, so that we can worry about the step that we're on right now. What's the team?
What's the venue like? Obviously, I want to ask about the patch too. I don't even know if you know that so far, but what is the venue like in St. John's?
The venue is phenomenal. This is something that I've never had in an event before. That the patch is connected to the hotel, which is connected to the Mary Brown Center where we're playing. So it's kind of a trifecta, and we don't have to walk outside, which is really cool. So that's one thing. We haven't seen the patch yet. We will be checking that out tonight because we obviously don't play. We don't play until tomorrow at 7 p.m.
Yeah.
So we got some time to burn tonight and tomorrow as well. So yeah, it's kind of a really cool place, and it's this could be a good and bad thing, but it's like right beside George Street. So George Street is literally a block away from the hotel. So it's a pretty cool spot.
The fellas are going to have some fun, no doubt about it. When you look at those teams, and you kind of talked about, Kidby having, I guess relatives with Hebert, and the teams that is there one team that you guys are, I guess, closer with? You sit down with them more because you guys are playing with a lot of these guys, playing in events with a lot of these guys. Is there one team that you guys are maybe closer to?
We have some familiarity with a couple teams. Like, obviously, we were out on George Street last night, and the Northwest Territories guys were there, Jamie Cooey, and they're a pretty social group too. So we went and sat over with them, and I think they're going to be a group that's obviously going to be a similar social aspect to what we do. We may not stretch it quite as far as some other guys, but I think each of us know, because we're all different ages and we played against some of these guys in juniors, we each know somebody on each team. Like, I know somebody on Gushu's team, and I mean, obviously Canada, and Kelly played juniors with Dunstone, I believe, or against Dunstone. So and Deuce actually played with Dunstone. So there's some pretty good aspects from all angles. So I think it's going to be a pretty good atmosphere for the patch and the social aspect for sure. You
guys fire up, like you said, tomorrow night, and your first game is against Brad Jacobs and the guys and the gold medal winners. Do you have any chirps in your bag, maybe for Kennedy or Hebert, just about the maybe anything Swedish like?
No, I have a ton of respect for those guys, and it sucks to see that it got to the point that it did, because obviously I think it was a little bit blown out of proportion, and I love Addeen's teams too. So I don't have much bad to say, and I've I guess you could, out of fun, you could do it, but obviously I have a ton of respect for those guys, and it sucks to see the anguish that they had to go through, or the drama that they had to go through to win a gold medal. It's crazy. I'm pretty impressed that they were able to actually even keep their composure throughout that whole scenario, because that happened quite early on in the week too.
I'll ask you, as a curler, Brennen Jones, third for Knapp's team at the Brier here on the Western Pizza Guest Hotline. What should the rule be? If they said to you, what do you think the rule should be? How should it be played?
In my opinion, as long as the rock's released before the hog line, I don't care if you really sit on it and throw it really, right? I think there's got to be a little bit of leniency in the sense of obviously, looking at Rachel Holman's throw, for example, she released the rock and then it looked like her hand just kind of dropped from the handle. There's got to be a little bit of leniency, and it's pretty hard to police, especially when maybe you have some officials not being in the curling, as an actual curler, to understand how to release. But I think it's just, as long as it's before the hog line, it doesn't really matter, because you see guys falling when they're sliding, and they're releasing it different than what they would normally release it if they didn't fall or slip out of the hack or whatever, right? So in that case, that could be an issue too, right? So as long as it's before the hog line, I don't think it matters.
Yeah, it was a crazy story. Well, this is exciting. I know, obviously, you got the pressure of Saskatchewan too, right? How many times have you heard, Saskatchewan hasn't won, and Rick Folk and all that? I'm sure that gets tiresome too, even your other days at the Brier as well.
Yeah, you know what? I don't care if it's us or McEwen. I hope somebody wins, just so that Saskatchewan doesn't have to have that on their backs, because it is a little bit more pressure. But you know what? we're out here to try to have some fun, and usually when you're having fun, the wins follow.
Yeah.
And you know what? I think there's two good teams out here representing Saskatchewan, that I think one of us can probably pull one of those off.
Right on. Yeah.
Sure.
1980, 44 years ago. It's
crazy.
It's crazy
because we've had a lot of successful curlers in Saskatchewan, and it just, we couldn't do it.
All right. You get to sleep in tomorrow, so really explore tonight. Visit the patch, have some fun. You said the trifecta. That's awesome. Maybe you got to send us some pictures. Have fun out there. Appreciate you doing this here on first day of the Brier, and of course, best of luck to you guys.
You betcha. Thanks so much.
Tomorrow night, they get her fired up out of the gate against Team Canada. Benny Hebert, Brad Jacobs, Mark Kennedy. It should be a good one. It's the old 2.5 hour difference too, right? In St. John's, not 2 hours, it's 2.5. So, that was Brennen Jones, third vice skip for Team Nap at the Brier for Saskatchewan. We're on the home of local sports in Saskatchewan, streaming through our YouTube channel at sportscage.com and on 620 CKRM. Welcome back. We're into hour 2 of the Sports Cage on this Friday. Thanks for tuning in, however you are, or watching along if you're watching on YouTube. SportsCage.com feed this hour. We got Eric Francis standing by. We are going to talk about the male U18 AAA League playoffs start this weekend. Voice of the Pat Canadians, Ardenn Lloyd's coming in. Clutch performer. Sprinkle of the day. We're going to have to do that in this hour, Colson. I took a little bit of a bath last night on my 2 picks. It wasn't good. We talked about all the hockey going on in Saskatchewan this weekend. Playoffs, teams trying to make playoffs in different leagues. It's a great time. And then also starting tomorrow. I don't even know what time it starts. I think I should know this. Is it 6 p.m.? TeleMiracle? How does TeleMiracle usually fire? And then it goes around the clock into Sunday. Some of you have messaged us on the Prairie Land Rentals text line their TeleMiracle memories. James, he talks about the NFL Combine. We welcome your comments at 936-6262. Roscoe's best memory of TeleMiracle? Meeting Bob McGrath at Tobin Lake. So your best memories of TeleMiracle is probably Bob McGrath, right, Roscoe? Out in Kindersley there as well. Danny on the text line says, TeleMiracle memories, Alvin Law, a staple. I've never seen, I never watched TeleMiracle and saw it, but Alvin Law, he had no arms, and he played the drums. He was an amazing human. I met him once. He was such a nice guy. The next time someone tells you life's got to be fair, like, come on. What a nice man. Born with, I think he drove, too. Didn't he drive? Alvin Law was a staple. Rest in peace.
Show begins at 7 p.m. You're correct there.
Dan also says Beverly Mahood. Big crush on Beverly Mahood. I talked about that. That was early 2000s. 2000, a young Bearcat. I thought Beverly Mahood, yeah. And I met her once, though. Yeah, I think I was actually buckled. That's why. She wasn't very nice to me. But yeah, she's been a staple. You look down the list of performers. How about this one? Forgot about this. This would have been sitting on the shag carpet in the rumpus room watching it as a kid. The Irish Rovers. Could have been the whiskey. Might have been the gin. Do you have any idea when I say Irish Rovers what that means, Colson? No.
Not a clue.
Frank Mills. Wasn't he a big pianist? Jim Witter. Who else? The Rankin family. The Northern Pikes, of course. They're from Saskatchewan. Rita McNeil. What a voice on Rita. Jeff Healy. Rest in peace again. He's been there. My TeleMiracle story. Maybe I'll tell this with Eric. He might get it. I don't even know if I could paint my one and only TeleMiracle. Eric, first off, we're going to tell him what TeleMiracle is. And then I'll tell him the story. Let's get her going with Eric.
Now for Inside the NHL with Eric Francis on the Sports Cage. Inside the NHL is brought to you by Sports Select. Getting in on more of the sports action you want is as easy as playing at sportsselect.com. Simply make your picks online, generate your QR code, and lock in your bet at your local Lotto Spot retailer.
Jeffrey on the text line says he met Elvin Law. He came to his high school to speak in Calgary once. He'll never forget it. Of course, you're in California on a lounge chair. If you're watching the stream, look at this cheeseball right now. Just relaxing by a swimming pool, doing the hit. Gotta love it. Do you have any idea when I say TeleMiracle in Saskatchewan what that means?
No, I don't, but I have my own version of what I think a TeleMiracle is, but I want to hear your version of it first, and then I'll share with you a very interesting story that just happened to be that I would consider a modern-day TeleMiracle.
So, starting in 1977 in Saskatchewan, and it would flip-flop between Saskatoon and Regina, it's a 36-hour, it's more than 24. It's a 36-hour telethon on the CTV stations where there's a bank of phones and people. You know, it's the Seinfeld when Kramer's answering phones in that one episode. It's like that, but bigger. And then there's performers and people donate money in your name goes across the bottom. It's just an institution. It's an institution in Saskatchewan. So you grow up watching this as a kid, right? Here's my TeleMiracle story. It's in Saskatoon at the Arts Center, the Centennial Auditorium downtown. We are in it was either grade 11 or grade 12. We're at a party. You remember when you used to party in grade 11 and 12 with your boys? And we're in an absolute heater here. Things are good. Pre-cell phone days. It's awesome. For some reason, I was a big Lawrence Gowan fan. Lawrence Gowan came out with that solo album, After Gowan. I was all over it. Weird, I know. Grade 11 and 12. Everyone else listening to Metallica, stuff like I got Rock Set, Color Me Bad, and Gowan in my CD player. I don't know. I convinced 4 guys at this party to make our way to the Centennial Auditorium to watch Lawrence Gowan at midnight. Looking back, I have no idea why they would have done that with me. He sang his hits. He played. It was midnight. A bunch of high school guys there cheering on Lawrence Gowan with some of Saskatchewan's finest at TeleMiracle. I'll never forget how I convinced those guys to go down there for that. Your miracle story.
Well, first of all, Gowan was the very first concert I ever went to, so we're up the same vintage. It was at the $5 concert series at Canada's Wonderland, and that was the stage when he was Gowan. Remember, because he was Larry Gowan, then he was just Gowan, then he was Lawrence Gowan. I don't know what he is now, but back then he was Gowan, and I wouldn't say you could put him in the same category as like the one-word artists of our era, you know, Madonna, Prince, Michael, but damn it, he was ours. He was our Canadian boy, and he had the gall to go with one name for a little while there. Good on Lawrence. But so. TeleMiracle. I feel like I just pulled a bit of a miracle myself using my telephone, and that's why I'll call it a TeleMiracle. I'm in LA, and just talking with some of my colleagues, we're like, "What do you want to do tonight?" We're all, some guys are going to the beach, some guys are going to a comedy show. So I go to the comedy show just to see what's at the comedy store. It's iconic here, right? And tonight it's a jam-packed roster, big names. I'm like, "There's no way it's sold out." And as I'm scrolling down, it says, "Just announced, Nikki Glaser tomorrow night." And I'm like, Nikki Glaser, when she was in Calgary about, 6 months ago, my wife and I were debating spending $400 a piece for the worst tickets at the Jubilee Auditorium. And now here she is at the Comedy Store. I just pressed click. I don't know if they just announced it minutes earlier or what, but I just bought 2 tickets, VIP tickets, at the front of the stage to see Nikki Glaser at the Comedy Store tomorrow night. Here's my quandary. I have no one to go with. So if there's any of your listeners, because it sounds like you got some beauties out there, if there's anybody who wants to fly out, meet me in Vegas or LA, wherever the hell I am, I got a ticket for them. I seriously need someone to go with. I don't like doing things alone in my life. I'm going to this concert and I'm bringing a stranger. I just don't know who it is yet. Is that creepy?
Lawrence Gowan plays the Parkland County Resort, River Cree Resort, Thursday at 8 p.m. I'll buy 2 tickets to Gowan. We'll go. And then I'll come into Los Angeles tomorrow and we'll go to Nikki Glaser.
Oh, my God.
Do you get to meet her?
I love it.
At this VIP ticket?
I don't know. It just says VIP stage. That's all it says. And I don't know. I just bought the best too. But, when you go to a comedy show, it's $55. Nothing, right? You got to buy 2 drinks, which are probably $30 each. But who cares? It's still a bargain to see what I would consider, no pun intended, the hottest comic in the world right now. Like she, without question, is the hottest comedian, not just by looks, but she's just an amazing comedian. So anyway, it's funny. I'm sitting here going, I need to buy these tickets. I'm actually thinking about buying more, which is ridiculous because I don't even have enough to fill the 2 that I bought. But there are still more for sale right now. And I'm thinking at that price, I could just buy them and just say I had them. I don't know. It's weird.
Go wear a hat down low, sit by yourself, and people will think you're an agent or somebody famous in Los Angeles. And when people ask you who you are, be like, it doesn't matter. No, but you know what? And I don't want to sound chauvinistic about this because my wife and her friends and just females, there's always guys that they're either funny or they're charismatic or whatever, and women are attracted to them. And maybe their looks, they're on a 7 out of 10 or whatever. But I think Nikki Glaser, that's where I'd like to see her up close. She's a very nice looking lady. I think her sassiness, her comedic side, all that makes her 10 out of 10.
Yeah, I think that's really well put. I've listened to her. She does these incredible segments with Howard Stern after she hosts these award shows where she tells Howard, she saves all the stuff that she doesn't use, and she says it all on his show and explains why she didn't say it, which makes it worse to me. But it's so funny. She's so cool. You feel like she's the kind of person you'd love to just have a beer with. And yeah, she's sexy, but that's not even part of it. It's part of her appeal. I get it, but I'm 100% with you. She's awesome. Yeah. Anyway, I'm really looking forward to it.
The same way that some of the female listeners out there right now feel about Larry. Exactly. The same way.
100%. Yeah. Because he's funny. It's funny to call yourself Lawrence when you don't have to.
You go through 3 different days. Let's talk a little bit of hockey here. Jonathan Huberdeau news. Did you know that before it was released? Or did it really come from left field the way I'm hearing from a lot of Calgary fans?
Yeah, like the night before, he announced it just before the Olympic break, and the night before, he had borrowed a teammate's stick and scored a goal with it. He borrowed Matt Gridden's stick in the morning skate, and then surprised everyone. Players just don't do that. You're a hockey player. You don't just grab another guy's twig and use it. They're such creatures of habit. Anyway, he's been in such a slump. He grabbed his stick, and first shot of the game he scored. And so we were joking about that and whether you had to pay him for the stick or whatever. And he goes, listen, what's happened to me this year has nothing to do with the stick. There are other issues. And he was just joking. But the next day they announced that he needs hip surgery. And so we know what he was talking about. So, hey, look, it's for the best. This is a lost season for the Flames. Might as well get that fixed right now. It does explain a little bit why he hasn't been very effective this year. And if this can help him get back on track in some way next year, this is a win-win for everybody. In the meantime, youngsters get a spot in that lineup, which is a win for the Flames too.
Last night, and I'll talk about this on Sprinkle of the Day for Sports Select as well, I went Los Angeles at home, San Jose at home, parlay those two, and then I look like an absolute fool right now. Every time Calgary wins, and they haven't done any trades yet, the trade deadline's coming, every time Calgary wins, all I think about is mushy middle.
Yeah, well, they're good at it, man. They've been, for 30 years, they've perfected the art, and they're going to do it again this year. Look, they were third worst team in the NHL coming out of the break. I don't know what a win last night did in terms of that, but yeah, another step towards the mushy middle, which, everybody in Calgary is now cheering for a 3-2 loss every single game, and the 2 goals get scored by rookies who keep improving their confidence and moving on up in the world. But I said this to you before, and I'll say it again. With Dustin Wolf and Logan Cooley between the pipes, it's almost impossible to bottom out and tank. They will not let you tank. They are that good. And that game was won 100% last night by Dustin Wolf in front of his friends and family.
In your opinion, more likely to get traded or first to get traded, Kadri or Pettersson out of Vancouver?
Oh, my God. They're both really hard contracts to trade. At least one of the players is good. The other isn't. And he's a bit of a problem in the room. And I'm not talking about Kadri. So I can't see that Pettersson deal getting peddled. Sorry, am I mincing my words here? The Kadri deal is hard enough to trade right now, and he's been productive over the last couple of years, scoring 35 last year, and he's still a leader, and he's a good soldier. Not sure I can say any of those nice things about Pettersson. So I have a hard time believing the Pettersson deal is ever getting moved, let alone ahead of Kadri. And I don't think Kadri's getting moved by the deadline this year. Just 3 more years on that contract makes it really, really tough. And then Pettersson's got 14 years left on his deal. That's really not getting moved.
How was Celebrini last night?
He was good. 9 shot attempts, 5 on net, dangerous all night long. The reason why everybody showed up. They sold out the rink last night, which is not normal in San Jose these days, but I think that little coming out party for him, for the rest of our country, but also in even San Jose, I don't think they realized what they had in this guy. And so they showed up en masse last night to cheer him on. I'm sure they weren't there to watch the Calgary Flames. And when they announced that they welcomed back the 4 Olympians from the Sharks, and then they did a kind of a separate thing for Celebrini, congratulating him on winning silver for Canada, standing ovation. People were just so pumped for that kid. So cool moment, and he's going to transform hockey in this city, I guarantee it.
Los Angeles Kings are battling for a playoff spot right now. They look awful against Edmonton last night. Flames are there tomorrow night. What are you curious about when you watch the Kings tomorrow night?
Yeah, I mean, Panarin, I just want to see how he looks. It's amazing that they got pounded so badly by the Oilers last night. I mean, look, the Oilers could do that to anybody on any given night. Unfortunately for the Oilers, they could also go the other way on any given night. But, the Kings are in a bit of a spin here. They were hoping, I'm sure, that Panarin would help turn their fortunes around. But the loss of Fiala's got to hurt big time. And, there's a lot of talk that they're going to try and get out there at the deadline and kind of make up for the loss of Fiala, which I kind of think is a bit of a lost cause. Like, I'm not saying throw in the towel on the season, but I'm saying if you're expending assets now, that you could be using down the road, not sure that's really good cap management, but we'll see what they do.
Okay. This is Colson's gonna play we found the clip about our Olympic wager. We didn't doctor it up. So turn up the volume while you sit by the pool there in Los Angeles. Here is the clip on our bet.
What are we betting? What's the bet?
Mushy middle t-shirts?
It's probably a few rounds at the golf course that we're going to play in April. If you win, I will take you to Slots of Fun for a burger and a beer way down the strip there. How's that? They got $1.50 beer and $1.50 Bud Light. That's fair.
You know what?
You got that Alberta money, man. You got that Alberta money. Like, I don't have that. I'm in Saskatchewan.
No. Yeah, we got so much of it here. Yeah, I'm happy to bring a bunch. I think Saskatchewan's doing all right these days too. But I'll play along and I'll pretend that our money is more plentiful here. Any wager that gets paid out in Vegas is always a fantastic idea, right? Because no matter what it is, it doesn't feel like you're paying it out. You're just spending money in Vegas that you really don't want to account for anyway. So I'm in.
It is. I get off easy.
You did.
Easy.
I can't believe in that bet, I had agreed to like 2 rounds of golf compared to you paying
$1.50 Chikai. I was gonna run up the tab heavy while we were golfing. I was going to pay for my own golf. I was going to run up but Vegas golf course drinks, you're 12, 15, 18 bucks a shot. I was going to have a good time. Yeah. Now you get draft beer in a small plastic cup.
You know what? A win's a win. I'll take a win. I'll just take the win, and we'll have a good time doing it. It wasn't about having a windfall. It was just about getting the W.
Okay, we're gonna shelf the cereal talk for next week. Let you get back to your. The sun has moved. You want to get back over in that other corner over there.
Yeah, I got it. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
What is the temperature right now?
It's 30 degrees. It's crazy. Like 91 Fahrenheit. They're for the next 3 days. They're really bracing for it here in LA.
Oh man, what a place!
I've been doing. Yeah, it is good. You know what? Like, anyway, it's not lucky. I was a week ago I was in San Jose del Cabo. Yesterday I was in San Jose. Now LA. God, I love the NHL.
I know. I can't wait to watch you go to that Buffalo Columbus trip.
Yeah, that might not happen.
Yeah.
I might be sick. That week.
All right. Have a good weekend. We'll chat next week.
Okay. Anyone wants to go to Nikki Glazer, let me know.
Or Lawrence Gowan at the River Cree.
Or Lawrence Gowan. Either way, I'll treat.
That is our NHL insider, Eric Francis. It's brought to you by Sports Select, where you can simply make your picks online now, generate your QR code, go to the Lotto Spot retailer, scan it, and there you go. Every bet is 100% legal with chance of winning. Cash in hand, must be 18 plus to play, and play responsibly. You had no idea who Lawrence Gowan is, do you?
Nope.
That story, man, how did I convince 3 dudes to go to TeleMiracle, leave a party, a grade 11 or 12 party to go watch Gowan?
By the way, I'm pretty from the texts and from some Googling.
Oh, no. I don't know. I see this now. I'm an idiot.
Yeah, pretty sure Alvin Law's still doing just fine.
I mixed up with Bob McGrath. I apologize. Alvin Law fans, Jeff, thank you. He lives in Calgary. Look at all the text messages. Sorry. That's on me. I was mixed up with Bob McGrath. Can we go to break? It's a sports cage. Clutch performer right out of the gate. Jeff, who messaged in. Someone felt so bad for me. I don't even think they left a name. Oh, Carrie in Saskatoon. Thank you. There's somebody else too.
Oh, everyone who is correcting you.
Oh, Alvin Law is not. He's with us. He lives in Calgary. How come he doesn't go to TeleMiracle anymore? Or that? Maybe it's just not one of the things.
Maybe.
So you guys are clutch for that. I want my clutch performer. I want to say, and not to come across cheesy by any means, but the Kinsmen, the Canets in the province, throughout all those years as well, and then all the volunteers that are going to help out with TeleMiracle this weekend. Your clutch. Thank you. I mentioned this. The year with the most pledges or that brought in the most money shocked me. 2022, $8 million. $8 million. There must have been one of those big, in one of those, what do they call them when a family or somebody in their will?
Oh, does a big match or whatever?
Nah, it's a B. Starts with a B. Somebody's going to text in right at bequest. Is it a bequest?
Bequeath?
Must have been a couple of those with people, because I want to say I've heard of a couple like $1.5 million they left to TeleMiracle in their wills, which is unbelievable.
Yeah.
I've always wondered if the family knows. Or is that a surprise at death when they're reading the will? That, they want $1.5 million to tell them, which is awesome. But if you only have $1.6 million and your family's reading that, you're like, what's a bequest, isn't it?
Yeah, bequest. Yeah, that year included the largest single donation in TeleMiracle's history, a bequest of close to 1.8 million.
Ooh, see, that's the one I remember.
Yep.
8 Schmill, 2022. And then in 2018, there must have been a couple of doozies because it was 7 million, just over 7 million there. Last year, if you're keeping track at home, 2025, 5,700,000.
Yeah.
Not too shabby.
Yeah.
For little old Sasky. The first one in 1977. Shout out all of us that were born in 77. Still pretty good. If you ran that up to current inflation and numbers, I wonder what it would be. 1.2 million. Hosted in Saskatoon. I watched some clips last night of the first one. Mm-hmm. Oof, what a time. Before we get more into TeleMiracle, do you have a clutch performer? Sorry.
I do. Raptors last night, losing effort against the Spurs. I think it was 117-114. But Trace Jackson-Davis subs in with 8.7 seconds left. Grabs the missed free throw by Victor Wembanyama. And then I forget if they call it timeout or they stop the clock going out of bounds, whatever. Stop the clock with 8.4 seconds. He then gets subbed out. He played for 0.3 seconds, got 1 rebound. If you carry that out across full 36 minutes, that would be 7,200 rebounds in one game.
How many?
7,200.
Wow.
Which, that's a joke, but still, hey, he played his role. Good job. Losing effort. Poor Raptors, but still, I saw that math and I was like, that's funny.
Okay. Awesome. Clutch performer is for Kellen Solar in Lumsden, Saskatchewan. Big hockey game in Lumsden, Saskatchewan today. They're quoting out right now anything solar for the spring, summertime, local family-owned business in Lumsden, Saskatchewan. If you're thinking about getting solar on that cabin, house, farm, whatever, Kellen Solar, they can hook you up. Have you ever heard of the name? Here's some more notable guests. Your wife texted you that you didn't know the Irish Rovers.
Yeah. She used the word, the phrasing, I'm shocked. So I guess she learned that today. So, yeah.
Have you ever heard, guaranteed you've never heard of it, Billy Barty?
No, doesn't ring a bell.
What movie do I remember Billy Barty in? He was only 3, he was a little person, 3'9", but he was a actor. He did pass away in 2000. I remember him back in the day, 80s, TeleMiracle. This were a lot of 80s, 90s TeleMiracle memories happen. We talked today, cat's out of the bag. Anybody that has any connections to TeleMiracle and the talent pool,
yep,
who they bring on, voice of the Saskatchewan Roughriders, Dave Thomas, it's one of his lifelong goals is to help and participate in TeleMiracle. Because Dave, we're of that vintage, you grow up with TeleMiracle.
Absolutely.
I would love to be going back to the Seinfeld episode with Kramer in the back answering phones for whatever pledge drive or whatever that was. I would love to be back there picking up the phone, taking pledges. Have you guys
imagine you call in to donate and you just hear on the other end, hey, it's Dave Thomas, voice of the Riders.
Yeah.
Fun.
It's just such an institution. And then I remember too, I don't know when the first time I would have donated to TeleMiracle was. A lot of times when you're younger, or you're the boys, you pool the money together. Whoever had the credit card first off, which I didn't trust myself with a credit card until I was probably in my mid-20s, is just to see the name of whatever on the bottom of that screen.
Yep.
And when that comes on, if you're not watching, all is lost. You either got to donate again or you got to wait 365 long ones to fire it up again. But your name comes across the bottom of that screen. That is a special time in Saskatchewan, in one's life in Saskatchewan. I'm trying to think of the first year. I remember I always would think I want to donate, but I want to make sure. And you always have the celebrities answering the phone, which would be a perfect job for Dave Thomas.
Oh, absolutely.
I would do it. I'm sure most people here would do it.
I already do it. I already do it.
You already do it. You always wanted to talk to the celebrities. If your parents would give you a few bucks to donate to TeleMiracle, and you'd go to the old rotary dial phone or whatever, the punch phone with the cord, and you'd dial it in, and it'd be like TeleMiracle, and you'd put the donation in, and you just wanted, whoever was in the back answering. Was it George Fox, Canadian country legend? Was it Lawrence Gowan, if he was answering phones? Bob McGrath, I'm sure he got up there, answered some phones. Under the celebrities of guests of TeleMiracle throughout the years, guess who is on there on their Wikipedia page? Glenn Suter.
Oh, yeah.
TSN sportscaster, former Saskatchewan Roughrider. I would have liked to talk to Glenn Suter when I donated to TeleMiracle. Alan Thicke, the late Alan Thicke. No, but you just didn't want to be, because they always talked about how they do the knock them down. All right, we're gonna knock them down. Here we go, everybody, and everyone stand up, and then they get the calls, and that's when you would try and call in, because you're helping, you're helping the cause for the knockdown, and you just didn't want someone they always said there's more people in the basement answering phones. Centennial Auditorium. I don't want to talk to anyone in the basement. I want to talk to somebody up there. I want to be somebody.
You want to be
for the cause.
Yeah, you want to be a part of it.
And then it used to be cheerleaders from the high school in Saskatoon. I remember they would put the numbers up.
Yeah.
Who does that now? Who did they get? Is it just random people?
I don't know.
Teams of some sort, maybe?
Find, but
and there's always, oh man, I lived in Shaunavon for a bit. That's the smallest town I ever lived in, and I was part of the Kinsmen, believe it or not. That's fun. That is, I know I've never been a part of the Eagles or the Lions Club or anything like that. I was part of the Kinsmen for a bit. That was fun, and we did a massive, was it the Kinsmen and the Canettes in Shaunavon? They did a massive fundraiser every year, and talk about an absolute liquor fest. But it was at the bar. Everybody raising money, having a great time, tons of money, everyone getting buckled. Oh, good on everybody out there. Did they? And then is it the Agros that pushed the bed from Regina to Saskatoon? Something like that?
You're asking the wrong person. I am trying to find other details here that I can, but
Alan said the word is bequeath.
Bequeath, yeah. There we go. And to answer Roscoe, yes, I know Grandma got run over by a reindeer. Did I know that was by the Irish Rovers? No. Now I do.
Gerald texted in, but he just said TeleMiracle.
Yep.
A lot of people loving Alvin Law. Memories of Alvin Law. Bob McGrath's sweater game.
Iconic.
10 out of 10.
Iconic.
Point. I know they're playing that commercial right now where it's him singing, what's the song from Sesame Street? As a kid, you all know it. Man, it was... Those are such good memories. You try and stay up as long as you can as a kid. It's kind of one of the only nights that you were allowed to fire. And then I totally didn't know about this. They don't use the old "All I Need Is a Miracle" from Mike and the Mechanics.
Oh, I saw that too.
They don't use that song anymore. They have "You Are the Miracle." Now that it sounds familiar, sang by Sasky country artists Brad Johnner and Donnie Peranto.
They've actually replaced that one too.
Oh, have they?
Yeah, in 2021, they went to "Thank You" by Beverly Mahood.
Where's Beverly Mahood from? She's not from Saskatchewan. She's been a staple there.
She originally born in Belfast, Northern Ireland.
Yeah. Big Beverly Hood fan back in the day, early 2000s. Going through some, like Glenn Suter's on the list. Teresa Serkerka, Saskatchewan. She was the 2004 Colson Canadian Idol runner-up from Saskatchewan. That was big news. That was big news in 2024. Pamela Wallen, the television personality back in the day and diplomat. She's from Saskatchewan. A cappella group, Street Nicks. Once in a while, a guy needs some a cappella in his life. You ever heard of the Nylons?
I have not heard of the Nylons, no. I think you have mentioned them a few times, but that's my only hearing of them.
You might, on the way home tonight, want to download some Nylons.
All right.
For the ride home. TeleMiracle memories. Send them in. 936-6262. Prairie Land Rentals text line. Sprinkle of the day. Yes, Benny. I think it was Benny that texted in. Took it on the chin last night. I couldn't have been more off. I went home teams, Los Angeles Kings and San Jose Sharks. No. Los Angeles got stomped by the Oilers 8-1. Sharks probably should have won that game last night. SportsSelect.com. You can go there. QR code nowadays. You can play single games like tonight's Winnipeg-Anaheim game. Winnipeg is the only Canadian team skating in the NHL. They're in Anaheim. Talk about Jekyll and Hyde. These two teams. But let's go with the underdog. The traveling Winnipeg Jets. If you want to go to the pro line and hope they win in regulation, that's paying $2.50. If you're a point spread fan, odds are a little bit less there. Winnipeg, you can give up a half a goal. They're paying $1.60, or the over-under. 5.5. Who starts in net for Winnipeg tonight?
Mine's showing 6.
Unless I got to refresh my screen. It just went up. Did they announce the starting goaltender maybe? Is it not Connor Hellebuck in net for the Winnipeg Jets? I don't know if they would have announced that. But anyway, that's the only Canadian team. Colson's looking it up. If they've announced the starter tonight. No, I got 5.5. You're looking at Utah. No, I went down to 5.5 again. Look at that. It's changing. Anyway, I would take Winnipeg to win outright. No overtime. At $2.50 for fun purposes, for the fun purposes of it all. Don't be going to take out any loans on my advice here and what I'm doing. After last night, you know better. We all know better. Dan just texted in. He think he's missed a few letters in the the bed thing. Yeah, CKRN's been talking about it all day. Okay, good. There's still a thing, then I take it. They're still pushing the bed. Dano probably hopes they were pushing Beverly Hood in that bed from his previous text. Okay, that's good to see. They still do that. It's a lot of fun if you're passing them on the highway. Honk and donate. TeleMiracle memories. We're going to get into AAA U18 AAA midget boys hockey. The playoffs are here. The playoffs have arrived. We are going to talk about that with the voice of the Pat Canadians when we come back. It's the Sports Cage on the home of local sports in Saskatchewan, streaming at sportscage.com. Welcome back to the Sports Cage here on this Friday for Nelson Holmes. We've been talking about it along with TeleMiracle. We've been talking about it. It's just a busy weekend for hockey in Saskatchewan. All levels of hockey. There's playoff chases. There's playoffs. It's just a great time of the year to get out, and it doesn't matter. Small town, big town, city, whatever. There's hockey everywhere. Joining us, we talked about this too, on the Western Pizza guest hotline. It's Friday. If you're watching some hockey, no need to cook. Grab some Western Pizza. Voice of the Regina Pat Canadians on Flow Sports, Ardenn Lloyd, joining us to talk some AAA U18. I still call it AAA midget boys hockey. Ardenn, the playoffs are here. You got to be excited as the voice of the Pat C's.
Oh, 100%, Barney. It should be a heck of a run starting here on Sunday.
It's been a year where everyone kind of watches the league, and I've watched it as well. And you watch these two juggernauts in Regina and Moose Jaw go at it, and they're both entering the playoffs. Everyone thinks that's the collision course for the final, and then maybe even Western Regionals, which are hosted here. Let's start with both of those two teams. Regina, we got Maddox Schultz, Liam Pugh, but they also have a deep team. With the Pat C's, you call the games. Why are they so good for an outsider, someone that maybe hasn't even gone to a Pat Canadians game this year?
They're so good because they don't need the superstars to be potentially the best team in the province. And when Maddox Schultz and Liam Pugh get inserted into that lineup, it takes a great team and just gives them so much extra pop. Right? Teams can struggle with the Pat C's because they have 3 and sometimes even 4 forward lines out there that can compete night in and night out with any other line in the province. Right? They have penalty killers that are atop the league, not just in killing penalties, but in scoring shorthanded goals. So when you have to account for dozen players that can hurt you offensively, and then you get hit with 2 of the best players potentially in the country of that age, it's tough to handle.
When you look at the Pat C's this year, Maddox Schultz, Liam Pugh aside, who has really impressed you? Who stepped up? For me, it's Malachi Martin. When I watch him as a kid that's coming into his first year in the league, gets his shot with PA. For me, that's him. But for you, a guy that watches all the games, home games anyway, who's jumped out for you? Who's been a bit of a surprise?
Well, Malachi Martin has been brilliant offensively, but I think my biggest surprise has been Riker Doka. He was just named Rookie of the Year by the League Awards today, and I think that he's done such a brilliant job on the distribution, and he's partnered up with Ethan Young, who top defenseman, led assists, but that doesn't mean the deep pair across from him should get the same amount of assists. He's equally as dominant in the offensive game and the transition game as well, and he's one of the smallest guys on the ice, but he has one of the highest hit totals for the team. He gets after it. He'll step up at the blue line like he's 200 pounds, and he won't be 200 pounds soaking wet by the time he's 18. He's got just such a tenacity, and he's been absolutely just dominant on the blue line in a season where, I don't think many people expected him to be.
Down the road, 35, 40 minutes, depending where you live, the Moose Jaw Warriors. Good team. I was impressed when I watched Moose Jaw and my eyeball test with how big and powerful and physical they are. That forecheck, that's a lot to handle in one game, let alone if you got to go 3, 4, 5 games in a series.
Yeah, and it's why the games between Moose Jaw and Regina have been so great this year, is because the teams, their strong points are different. Regina's is speed, and Moose Jaw's is power. They've got a lot of it. They've got a lot of size and a lot of power, and they can bank on not having the highest speed because Warwick on the back end, goaltending, he'll quash a lot of one-on-ones. You have to beat him on a rebound or a deflection. So Moose Jaw can afford to be really physical through the neutral zone and try to take hits and create turnovers the other way because they have such a strong back end. I think it's just too much for really any team to handle throughout this season. As they've seen, really the only teams that have consistently beat each other are Regina and Moose Jaw. I think Moose Jaw should roll through their first matchups.
Elsewhere in the league, if you had to, maybe say, well, who could hit their stride at the right time? Obviously, goaltending can be key. You see it in any line of hockey, different levels. The Contacts do have Addie Price, who can be really good. But, there's the Saskatoon Blazers that maybe we're not talking about yet. Estevan's had a year. Swift Current's given the Pat C some battles. When you look at the other teams, playoff-wise here in the league going in, starting this weekend, who are we maybe not talking about enough?
I think the Estevan Bears and Gunnar Moore should get more attention. They're coming in here on the 5th seed. They'll be the team on the road, potentially throughout all the playoffs. But this is a franchise best year for that Estevan squad. They've got a man leading the league in scoring, and he's been dominant down the stretch after the winter break. The Estevan Bears have really taken it to opponents, and I think they're going to have one heck of a time against Swift Current in that first round. The Legionnaires were in that argument for the top 3 team with Regina and Moose Jaw at the start of the year, but they kind of fell off down the stretch, and I think they could have a really hard time with Estevan.
It's such an exciting brand of hockey. And again, for maybe the listeners out there that haven't gone to a game this year, and it's not just the Patsies, it is Moose Jaw, it's Estevan, it's Swift, wherever they are. What would your sales pitch be for people to go out and watch this brand of hockey, especially into the playoffs here?
It's got such a fun dynamic of it is still minor hockey, right? So people aren't trying to take each other's heads off through the center of the ice, right? Like, you're not seeing ridiculous spinoramas that you'd see even in younger hockey. This is structured game where these talented individuals are learning unusual improvement from some of these players, and it's really fun to watch, and it's not a huge price point anywhere you go to get in and watch top quality hockey in the province.
Well, it's going to be awesome. Things firing up around the province this weekend. As for the Pat Canadians, they're home. It's an afternoon affair. 1 o'clock Sunday, Moose Jaw down the road Sunday. 6 o'clock, Battleford has to make that trek on a Sunday. Ardenn, thanks for doing this. I think we're going to have to catch up again, whether it's maybe for that league final and into Western regionals. Appreciate you doing this, and you're doing a heck of a job, by the way, on the calls. Your first year as voice of the Regina Pat Canadians. It just adds so much to watching a game, having a great play-by-play call.
Well, thank you, Barney. I do what I can.
Right on. There he is, voice of the Regina Pat Canadians. And they fired up Sunday, 1 o'clock against the Contacts here at home. Ardenn Lloyd. We are the home of local sports. It is the Sports Cage. We are streaming through our YouTube channel at sportscage.com and on 620 CKRM. I tell you that early spring sale helps out a lot for us hockey parents out there going on right now. Saskatchewan Roughriders news, they signed an American defensive end, Ty French. He's 6'1", 235, played collegiately with Gardner Webb and West Virginia before being invited to the San Francisco 49ers rookie main camp in 2025. Hockey tonight. Regina Pats, 2 points. Big 2 points on the line. In Brandon against the Wheaties. Starts 6:30 right here. Pregame show on 620 CKRM. Other Saskatchewan teams. The Blades are home to the Prince George Cougars. Raiders welcome the Penticton Vs, and the Swift Current Broncos travel into Lethbridge to take on the Hurricanes. SJ, some good tilts tonight. Nipawin, Yorkton, 7 p.m. Flin Flon in Melfort. That one's at 7:30. Warman's also traveling into Kindersley. It is Larange in Melville at 7 p.m. and the Battleford's at Humboldt, 7:30. Prairie Junior Hockey League playoffs, Junior B style. Game number 1, Assiniboia against Assiniboia Southern Rebels in Fort Knox, 7:30. Senior Provincials in Lumsden. They're trying to wrap it up against Kindersley. Game 2, 8:30 puck drop. Also in Kipling, Milestone's in town. Milestone looking to wrap up that provincial senior series as well. Some Junior C in Strasbourg. It is the Maroons home to the Regina River Rats. Montana Brier starts tonight. Saskatchewan teams are off. National Lacrosse League, the Rusher and Buffalo. One Canadian team in action in the NHL. Winnipeg at Anaheim. It's for the home of the price match guarantee, Extreme Hockey and Sport. 2 locations in Regina and now one in Moose Jaw at the Temple Garden Center. Extreme Hockey and Sport. Hour 3 coming up. Luke Mullinder will join us to start it off. It's a Sports Cage. We'll be back after the news. Hour 3 on a Friday. We're almost to the weekend. Thanks for making time, whether you're driving around, maybe you're cruising to a hockey game. We ran down there. There is a lot of hockey going on in the province. this weekend starting tonight. Thanks for making time. Maybe you're picking it up in podcast form later. You can always grab it anywhere you listen to podcasts or on YouTube if you want to watch along. Colson's with me today, our guest so far. It's been fun. Farhan Lalji was in hour one. We talked to Brennen Jones, vice skip and third from the Scott Knapp team at the Brier starting tomorrow. Eric Francis in hour two, live from poolside in Los Angeles. We got into a few things. He's going to Nicky Glazier tomorrow. He's looking for someone to go with him if you're in around. AAA midget hockey with Ardenn Lloyd. And then hour three, we're going to have Luke Mullinder in moments and then Farhan again at the back half of things. We're talking about TeleMiracle because that starts tomorrow in Saskatchewan. It's an institution in our province. Gerald on the text line, the Prairie Land Rentals text line, he says the TeleMiracle cast flew to Key Lake in 1981 and did a live show at a newly constructed mine shop for the contractors that were constructing a new uranium open pit mine, now known as the Cameco Key Lake Mine. Interesting stuff there, Gerald. Rod and Mike can't believe that Colson has never heard of the Irish Rovers, who used to be a staple at TeleMiracle. Alvin Law, we cleared up that. I don't want to go and revisit that. Alvin Law is alive and well. He lives in Calgary, Alberta, apparently. Bobby Cameron, a lot of memories on the Sesame Street coming in on that. Man, there was some really... And then we went down the music. Mike and the Mechanics, All I Need Is a Miracle. That's what I remember. And then I do kind of remember You Are the Miracle, Brad Johnner and Donnie Peranto. And then you said Beverly Mahood sings a new one?
Yeah, I'm trying to pull it up now.
I know the song, though. I hear it. I know what you're talking about. And there have been some absolute... I told my Lawrence Gowan, my Gowan story from TeleMiracle. That was fun with the fellas. I don't know how I convinced four guys to leave a high school party at midnight to go watch Gowan at the Centennial Auditorium in 1993 or 4. Somehow I convinced them to do it.
Since 21, Thank You by Beverly Mahood.
I want to... Dave Thomas wants to be part of it. He told us this morning. So next year, let's get Dave Thomas when it's in Regina at TeleMiracle. I would like to answer phones in the back. Luke Mullinder. That he should be on with Dave. I'm going to start that petition. I'm going to start that. Right. Luke Mullinder and Dave Thomas. You guys would entertain the people at TeleMiracle?
Oh man, just if you want to talk football or you want to talk, I think that I've never been involved in TeleMiracle, but I'll tell you what, man. As somebody who is in a large nonprofit, fundraising is harder and harder these days. So the effort that goes into things like TeleMiracle, it becomes even more important in this day and age, just because of the competition, but B, I mean, people don't have as much money to give, right? And so it's critical for those folks who have wanted to support in the past and who have supported things like TeleMiracle in the past to get on board, man. And people don't think about Saskatchewan when it comes to those fundraisers, right? Saskatchewan's got 1/10 of the people that major provinces do, but they have the same amount of competition for nonprofits and donors. You know what I mean? So, anyways. That's just my analysis.
That's a good way to put it. The only other thing on that, I would say, Dave Thomas and Luke Mullinder, if I can get you guys on the stage next year, TeleMiracle 51, do you want to do a midday or would you rather do the late night shift, maybe something through the night, early morning hours?
No, I want to do midday. That's when people are energized. If I do it at night, I'd want a beer or something, you know what I mean? And it just goes downhill from there. I definitely want to do midday because again, people got energy, right? They're interested in stuff.
Yeah.
You really got to rely on like the night owls, right? When it's
that's where the whole beer and maybe having something, maybe that's where it all comes together. I don't know. I'll find out. I'm writing it down here. Luke prefers midday. Okay.
Yeah. I'm a midday guy if I'm involved for sure. Yeah.
I need your take on the Olympics as a whole. We haven't talked to you since the Olympics. Did you watch a lot of Olympics besides? Let's put hockey aside for a sec. Did you watch much of everything else that went on?
not gonna lie, man, I didn't have a ton of time to watch a lot of the Olympics this year. But Olympics are something that's close to my heart. I've told you that when I played for Saskatchewan, the Riders sent us to the Olympics in 2010. And it was the greatest experience of my life. Well, one of the greatest. Listen to this. Me, Stu Ford, and George Reed. 4 days at the Olympics. All we had to do was show up at the Saskatchewan Pavilion and sign some autographs, right? And then we were by ourselves at the Olympics for the rest of the time. And by the way, me and Stu didn't have to do anything. George Reed was with us. Nobody wanted our autograph. Everybody wanted to line up for. So it was great because, man, we were just at the Olympics, hanging out in the Canadian Pavilion, hanging out in the hockey pavilion, watching. And it's where I started really, like, for instance, like, it's where I was like, wow, curling's the real deal. Because when I first really learned about curling was in the Saskatchewan Pavilion when Canada was playing, and the place was going nuts with every shot, man. So one day I'll tell you about that, man. But it was 2010 was also when I actually got to know George Reed, and just what like, the guy is a football legend. But man, I'll tell you what, man, those 4 or 5 days in Vancouver at the Olympics with George, just the type of person he was, man. I from that point on, man, me and him, I swear every time I saw him, I was like, hey, we got to do a lemon drop, brother, because that's what we were. That was our that was our go-to beverage of choice wherever we were, in whatever pavilion, whatever we were doing. We just, hey, line up some lemon drops here.
What? So, like, you watched everything on TV and you went to the party pavilions and all that. Did you get to go see anything live?
Yeah, oh yeah, dude. We were getting tickets to anything we wanted if we wanted, dude. It was awesome. The only thing we didn't do is we didn't go to any of the skiing events. We went to the skiing medal things, and the reason we didn't go to the skiing events because they were like in Whistler and stuff. You know what I mean? And we weren't trying to travel. We stayed down. It was just, man, the parties, the parade after Canada won. Well, not the parade, but just like the mosh pit after Canada won. The hockey, it was unreal.
Did you watch the hockey game though, Canada then U.S.? Did you watch the women and the men, or did you watch one of those?
This one, I watched the men's. Yeah, man. You know what? We gotta get our stuff together. You know, everybody's sitting there complaining about the fact. What?
We outplayed them.
No, we didn't.
We outplayed them bad, man.
No,
bad.
all Canada did that game was miss opportunities. That's it. That's all we did. We didn't outplay anybody. We missed a ton of opportunities. Outplaying the United States means you would have converted some of those opportunities. We deserved the silver medal. We got everything we deserved. And I'm not sure
people think Herb Brooks was a hard hockey coach. Luke Mullinder would be a damn hard hockey coach.
Well, I mean, what are we really talking about? Do we really, you know, I see everybody getting on social media and being like, Canada was the better team, blah, blah, blah. No, we weren't. It's like that meme. No, you're not. No, you're not. No, you're not. You missed every key opportunity you had to beat the United States of America. And guess what America did? They capitalized on their opportunity. They didn't have as many, but they converted the ones they did, and they had awesome goaltending. So, yeah, I watched it. I was proud, obviously, of my Canadian just sort of, yeah, I was proud to be a Canadian citizen, man. We got silver medals. You know what I mean? That's decent. But again, I know the standard is gold here, but what can you do? You got to convert.
Oh, you're tough. Luke's a tough one. I got okay.
Well, okay, hold on a second. Don't tell me you're one of those guys that has been like, oh yeah,
I'm a realist.
Canada played better. Canada played better.
They outplayed them. They outplayed them.
What?
They outplayed them. Canada outplayed them. Went to 3-on-3 overtime, and all bets were off. All bets were off. I'm just trying to remember. No, you know what, Barney? Now that I recall, the gold medal ceremony, the national anthem they sung was the American one. So yeah, no, they didn't outplay anybody. They lost. All right, that's what we did. We are the silver medal winning country in the Olympics. And by the way, nobody's talking about. Want to know the real deal, Barney? The real challenge or the real problem that nobody wants to talk about is the fact that we finished 8th in the Winter Olympics in the medal count. 8th. We were behind like Italy, dude. Like, never mind hockey, 8th in the Winter Olympics.
Dude, I'm pretty sure that when I was younger, we were like a powerhouse, like, right? We were way better than 8th. That's what. So we need to start investing in our Canadian athletes a lot more in this country. We've always known that, but 8th in my mind in the Olympics is unacceptable. You know, and everybody's been like, oh, well, look at all the studies. Look at how Norway does sports. Well, yeah, Norway's sitting there focusing on winter sports because it's winter all the time in Norway. Like, dude, I can't believe we were 8th and nobody's talking about it. Everybody's been crying about not winning the gold medals, but nobody wants to talk about the fact that Canadians finished 8th in the medal standings in the Winter Olympics. I can understand summer. Winter Olympics is crazy to me that we finished 8th.
We were really good in 2010. We brought home a lot of medals. But
here we go. Yeah, when it was in our own backyard. Yeah.
You know what? Actually,
surprise. We were good in 2010.
We were 3rd in 2018 as well. Yeah, so we did fall out.
Yeah,
cyclical.
We tumbled off one of the Whistler Mountains is what we did. 8th.
We don't have any funding. We had to buy a used bobsled from German Facebook Marketplace.
Listen, this is what I'm talking about. We have to start investing in our athletes a lot more. I always talk about it. We got to start investing in youth sports as well. But instead, we're walking away from sports at the Canadian university level, right? And then we're wondering why we're finishing 8th. 8th in Winter Olympics. That's crazy to me.
What? I want to know what you think. How good is Saski going to be when it comes to tailgating?
Oh, I can't wait. I cannot wait. Listen, I am so excited about so listen to this. Did Dave tell you the text message I sent him?
No. I
sent him that I'm going to quit. I will not be the color analyst next season if they do not let me participate live in a tailgating party in the parking lot. I'm not. I don't want. I can't wait, man.
All they're going to look at, Luke, is budget cut. They're going to look at saving money, and they're going to be like, okay.
Listen. Football culture. One of the things about football culture that is synonymous with football and football culture is tailgating. And I am so excited. And I went to a Big Ten school, all right? Yeah. And I was hurt a lot. So one of the things that I got to do was tailgate. And it was the greatest. Michigan State University's tailgate parties are incredible, right? Like, this is often. And I'm not saying we're going to be at Michigan State Big Ten level tailgating right off the bat. But what an opportunity. We've been waiting for this for so long. And now, Rider Nation finally, I can't wait. Because you know what? There are places that tailgate in the CFL, right? You got
Calgary.
You got Calgary that sets the bar. I'll tell you what, I know nobody wants to hear this, but every time the team bus rolls into Winnipeg, they look like they've got some pretty cool tailgating tents and things set up. I cannot wait. Yeah, so again, I am going to be extremely upset if I do not get to do a live on location hit from a tailgate. But I'm talking about, man, I want to be grilling bratwursts, grilling steaks and stuff out with Rider Nation. Then we'll go in, watch a football game. We'll come back out, party some more, and then go home. Like, I can't wait, man. It's awesome.
Lemon drop shots, obviously.
Lemon drop shots. Oh, man, dude. We're gonna you're gonna be taking bongs out of watermelons. Like, come on, man. This is right up Saskatchewan's alley, right? So I'm excited because it adds another element to the CFL experience.
Yeah.
Tailgating brings fans together, more importantly, right? And just listen, Barney, think about it. Labor Day.
Ooh.
Labor Day tailgates. Do you remember when we had Taylor Field? One of the coolest things, and this is when I first retired, one of the first things that I did was start doing the pre and post game shows, right? Mm-hmm. So I would actually walk to the stadium from the parking lot, but the Labor Day thing, there was always this massive party in like one of the houses that was next to Taylor Field. Always had this massive gathering, and it was the greatest because it was like Winnipeg Blue Bomber fans, it was Rider fans. They'd be partying. Man, those tailgate things, they got potential to be unreal in Saskatchewan. So, man, Rider Nation, start figuring out your tailgate recipes. Start figuring out what brews you're gonna have there, because I'm coming. And I swear to God, if nobody offers me a hot dog, I'm putting them on air. I'm putting them on blast.
That's actually, I remember, that's one cool thing about Taylor Field, probably more so like even 90s, I'm going back in the day, where a lot of people in those houses and they would set up. It had that college atmosphere, you know, the frats and the sororities and all. And Luke, you bring it up. Let's be honest, you know Saski fans as well as anybody. There are people that have been waiting years, thinking, planning out how their tailgate area is going to look.
Yeah. Oh man, like dude, like you set up. What you do is you get your big long table. You get a hibachi, or if you really want to make it, you bring your smoker out there and start early. But you get one of those big tent thingies, right? That you erect. Oh, it's like, dude, I'm telling you, man. Like, look at all the best part about going to NFL games. What do? When you went to your last Patriots game, since you apparently became a fan this year, right? When you went to your last Patriots game, what did you do? You went to the stadium early to tailgate, right? Yeah. Like, dude, I'm pumped. I know this is as excited as I've been on the SportsCage in a while, but I'm telling you, man, I'm jacked up, man. It's gonna be awesome. I can't wait to hang out with Rider Nation. I'm bringing the watermelons. I'm bringing.
I think.
Don't worry, I'm not gonna show up empty-handed, Rider Nation.
I think it's maybe that's a promo we do before the game. Luke comes by your tailgate with some supplies from a sponsor.
Dude. We got to do something. Otherwise, I'm not doing the game. I'll protest. I swear to God. I'm not.
Well, I don't know why they wouldn't put you in the mixer. I think it's a perfect idea.
Yeah, the Riders did a whole game with just Dave Thomas the other day. Well, why is that? Well, Luke was throwing a fit because they wouldn't let him go out into the tailgate party.
Luke was in a best of 12 cornhole tournament.
Oh, you see what I'm saying? See what I mean? You got cornhole. You got all sorts of games. Dude, I can't wait, man. I'm pumped.
On the field, it's starting to trickle in today. 4-time All Big South defensive end Ty French. I like this signing yesterday, Luke. Yeah. Defensive back Jerry Jacobs. He's got a lot of NFL experience. When they bring a guy in like that, are you like, okay, let's wait and see? There's a lot of unknown. There's a lot of X factors when I bring a guy in like that. When you see something like that, and Rider fans we're like, oh, NFL experience. What do you think, though?
Mm-hmm. Well, I actually don't. I don't weigh a lot on NFL experience, right? Because there's been a ton of guys that have come here from the NFL that have flamed out immediately, right? What I look at is, oh, wait a second, he was in the NFL for a while. Here's a guy that can retain a ton of information at training camp right off the bat. Right? Because he's been at the pro level and he's seen pro playbooks, defensive playbooks. So he's probably going to be able to retain that information easier than, let's say, somebody coming out of college, right? Fundamentally sound. He might be a little bit better fundamentally than some of the guys in training camp, right? So you can't look. You can't say, oh well, he was awesome in coverage in man coverage in the NFL. Well, it's completely different rules, right? Just because you can press coverage in the NFL doesn't mean you're going to be any good if a guy's running full speed at you on a waggle. You know what I mean? Like, it's two different things. So for me, it's just about, hey, like there's going to be the physical ability, right? You know, one of the things. Do you remember Cresden Butler? When Cresden Butler came from the NFL, I thought the same thing. And do you know what made Cresden Butler special in my mind? Cresden Butler was he was a great one-on-one tackler. And I felt like one of the traits that he brought from the NFL was that fundamental ability to be a tackler. You know what I mean? When he first got with Saskatchewan, right? Like, who knows what type of reputation he had, the way it ended up, right? But so guys like Cresden Butler. So again, if you have an NFL experience, great. But for me, it's like, okay, there's a lot of football IQ there that we can soak up. You know what I mean? It's not necessarily about how it's going to translate on the field.
Okay, we have about a minute and a half left. I want to get your take on what they're talking about at the combine. So much arm length, how some guys are 30 centimeters and then some are 30, 33 and all that. Former defensive guy. It's big on for the guards and obviously for the pass rushers. What's your take?
Yeah, well, you know what? I mean, listen, the NFL made a big stink about Will Campbell's arm length,
Yes.
right? The left tackle for the New England Patriots. And, you know, one of the things that was clear as a rookie, right? His arm length would have been a little bit more of an advantage to Will Campbell, but he's going to be fine. He's still going to be an awesome left tackle. I think for Ruben Bain, because that's who they're essentially comparing him to a T-Rex at the moment, right? You just gotta be a dog, man. Like Ruben Bain, he was productive at the college level by being a dog, by having a motor. You watched him in the championship game. One of his, he was just a nonstop dog. So you hope it translates, right? But for Ruben Bain, like, who cares about your arm length? You figure out what traits you have, your characteristics you have that are your advantage. You know what I mean? Some of those tackles do have long arms, but especially in today's day and age, right? Pass rushing's changed a lot, right? There's a lot of arm over techniques where you get in, where you master close space, but more importantly, the defensive linemen play with, they don't play like a lot of the technique. You know what I mean? Some of it you don't have to rely on having the longest arms. If you can get within close quarters and just get guys' hands off you, you might be successful. So everybody can't be a freak like Myles Garrett, right? Or like Jadeveon Clowney, right? Everybody in the NFL, if you're going to stay in the NFL, you have to have the ability to master your personal characteristics, your personal traits, right? So, I mean, I think it matters. But do I think, like in Ruben's Bain case, does it keep him out of the first round? No. Yeah. I'd be shocked if it kept him out of the first round.
That's what I'm very, very curious to see. Okay, we'll catch up again in 2 weeks. I know you're traveling and you're a busy guy. And in the meantime, I'm going to ask if you can come speak to my son's Bantam team before their playoff run here and give them some motivational speeches.
Man, I'm in, dude. No excuses. Either you're going to get it done or you're not going to get it done. There's no we outplayed them. Quit setting them up for failure, Barney. I'll see you guys later.
See ya. There's our color commentator on the Saskatchewan Rough Rider broadcast, and he's going to be around the tailgates. Apparently, Luke Mullinder joining us here on the Sports Cage for Nelson Holmes on this Friday. We'll go to break. We'll come back. It's the Cage at 620 CKRM. Let's start with a little Rider news. I signed defensive end Ty French today. He was at rookie main camp with the San Francisco 49ers last year. Some hockey. Big 2 points on the line for the Pats again tonight in Brandon, 6:30 right here, pregame show on CKRM. Other Saskatchewan teams, Blades host to Prince George. Raiders welcome Penticton, Swift Currents, and Lethbridge. SJ. Some fantastic tilts in Yorkton. Nipawin's in town. In Melfort, Flin Flon's in town. Battleford's in Humboldt. Warman at Kindersley. Larange in Melville. Prairie Junior Hockey League playoffs. Fort Knox plays host to Assiniboia. 7:30. That's game one of their series. Senior Provincials in Lumsden tonight. 8:30. Late one. Get after it at the pit before. Lumsden's up 1-0. Trying to wrap it up with Kindersley. In Kipling, Milestone trying to wrap it up in their series. Montana's Brier, Saskatchewan night off as it starts today. Lacrosse, the Rusher in Buffalo, and the only Canadian team in the National League skating, Winnipeg and Anaheim. That is your sports ticker. It's brought to you by Steelcraft Doors in Regina. Made in Western Canada for Western Canadians. We'll go to break. We'll come back. We're going to hear Farhan Lalji again from Hour 1. It's the Sports Cage. Keep the TeleMiracle comments coming as well. We'll be right back.